Hey guys, if you like what I do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. It really helps the channel. Thanks. Hey guys, Nathyn Brendan Masters, and if you saw an ad on this video, it's because my channel has been reinstated to the partnership program. Check that out. I've deleted a bunch of videos. I still don't know which videos were the problem, so, whatever. At least I'm back. So today I'm going to actually be doing a little bit of Inkwash. This is a page from Victor Locke Demon Hunter Demon Noir Part 2. And I am doing the first page, actually. This is Victor and Rebecca, and they're having a little bit of conversation. I actually drew this page a while ago, and I'm just now getting around to doing the ink wash for it. I'm actually going to really kind of take my time with this book and really kind of take everything I learned from the first book and apply it to this one. I was considering doing this one in alcohol marker, in grayscale alcohol marker, but I decided that since I had already started this on watercolor paper, I would continue doing this in ink wash. And this is the Canson XL watercolor paper that everybody uses. It's pulp paper, not cotton, but it, for what I'm doing, it gets the job done. I'm also kind of like jumping between inks. I'm using the Sumi ink to actually draw the image in. This particular thing was done with a fine liner. This picture was done with a fine liner, but you can see the shiny parts, where the ink is kind of shiny at. That's all done with Sumi ink. The tones are actually being done with the Blick Black Cat ink. So I think that's a little bit better for the tones. And because the Sumi ink, the whole thing about the Sumi ink is that it is, it's like the blackest, darkest ink you can get. So, and I'm pretty sure there's other stuff like, Vortex and stuff like that. But right now, this is what I have. And I'm finding that the actual tones are coming out better using the Blick ink. So that works out. And I have like a whole, I don't have a whole bottle now because I've used a lot of it, but I do have a nice amount of Blick ink, and I'm going to be using that for the tones. I will at some points use alcohol marker to get some of the finer tones down, and this way I'll have kind of a better idea of how all this stuff works together. I actually I started doing some swatching on I have another pad of paper like this. I just kind of do some swatching on, and I just want to see how this stuff will work together. So what I found was that the alcohol markers work pretty good, going over the tones when they dry. So it looks real nice. I would have done that a little bit more in the last book, but I wasn't really secure in how that all worked together, so I had to do a little bit more practice with that. So this book is going to look better than that book. I'm still going to be doing a lot of the work with brush because I want to get back into the brush thing, and I really want to work with that. But other than that, this is what you're going to be getting. The art's going to look a little bit more like this. Still going to be using the more thicker lines for this because even though this is kind of thin line, I'm going to be using the more thicker lines because I want to have that brush feels. It's going to be a lot more line variation. It's going to look a lot like the first issue as far as the lines and things like that. But I got more brushes. I threw away my imitation horsehair brushes because they really were good for covering big spaces, and in some cases I liked how they looked for doing line work, but it is the fact I actually got line work out of those brushes is something in itself. But I actually have a bunch of brushes here now, fine liner brushes, and of course I'll just be, in some cases, I'll just go ahead and use the fine liner. But I have a bunch of the smaller round brushes that I will use with, and then these are all synthetic brushes, so they're fine to use with Sumi. As a matter of fact, I say that, but like the animal hair brushes are probably better to use with Sumi ink, but the animal hair brushes are also very expensive. So yeah, we're gonna stick with these synthetic brushes, which are actually very cheap and actually get the job done pretty well. So we're gonna work with that. And there's another. Um, I have some more brushes around here, more than the ones I have in my hand. Like the one you see me using here. This actually came with a what is that stuff called? Gouache. This came with a gouache set that I have, but I like the way it lays down the ink, and I just said I'm going to use it for that. So I have 4 brushes here that I'll be using specifically, and so I've been working on like a lot of stuff. I'm working on this. I'm also working on my manga style. I'm going to be getting another sketchbook today. I have this is actually funny. I've become obsessed with these sketchbooks. So I have a sketchbook that I'm going to get today. It's probably going to be a Pentalic Traveler, the recycled Pentalic Traveler that everybody loves. I saw it in the other art store like months ago, and I got the Nature Sketch instead, which I love. That's, as I showed you last time, my favorite sketchbook. And so now I'm going to get the Pentalic Traveler. So each sketchbook is going to have its own things. So the Pentalic Traveler and the books like that, those are really going to be for pen and ink sketches, pencil, color pencil, which I'm actually going to get some new color pencils and start working with those again. And so that's the lighter paper is going to be for stuff like that. The Crescent Rendar stuff, which I have another Crescent Rendar on the way. This one's a hardback. The Crescent Rendar is going to be it's going to be pen and ink and alcohol marker. It's going to be specifically for pen, ink, and alcohol marker. So those are probably not going to get used as much, but they will be where I practice, because though they can stand up to everything, watercolor, when you're doing wet media, it's probably not the best for the Rendar. I would like to see a Rendar watercolor book. That would be nice. Or like a Rendar book specifically made for watercolor. That would be cool. But I really like the Rendar paper, but it's good for pen, ink, and I saw somebody do some spray paint on it, which I was like, wow, and it didn't bleed through. So like I said, it does what it does. That's why I say it's the best sketchbook. Not necessarily my favorite, but it is, in my opinion, the best. So I have 2 of those on the way, a flat lay and a hardback. And I have a Field Artist on the way, which is a watercolor book. And that's about it. That's going to be. I was thinking about getting a one of those, the Burns, and what's that thing called? The Stillman Burns. The Stillman Burns cotton sketchbook. I was going to get one of those. I'm going to at some point get a cotton sketchbook. Those are expensive as well, but I'm going to get those when I get deeper into actual watercoloring and ink wash. I do some ink wash, but most of my sketchbooks are fine with ink wash, and I'm not putting like a ton of water on those. So I'm going to wait on that. And especially if you've actually seen those watercolor sketchbooks, or the cotton ones, especially the ones like the Stillman Burns and the, there's Arches, like the Arches cotton sketchbooks, ridiculous. I mean, like price wise, ridiculous. So I'm going to be holding off on those. I was going to get another Moleskine watercolor book. Then I kind of was like, the hell am I going to be doing all this watercolor? So I I pushed back. I chilled out on that as well. And that's how I ended up getting the field artist. I was like, let's get the field artist, and we're going to call it quits there on Watercolor books. The Pentalic Traveler in the my Canson mixed media book, that should be good enough right now for watercolor and all that stuff. So that's going to be about all of the sketchbooks that I'm going to get for now. And I think what I'll do, each video is I'll go ahead and just kind of go through each book. Now I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do that on this channel or my other channel. And this channel keeps winning out because it has more subscribers. Now the question is, the interaction, of course, that's what it's all about. So I tend to get more interaction on this channel, and which tends to lead to more subscribers. So that too. And now that my videos are monetized again, they'll actually, YouTube will actually feel, hey, maybe we can put this out to people because we'll make money on it. And as you know, I like making a little bit of money myself, like making some money. So that works out for me as well. Now, with this page, if you're wondering what's actually happening here, this is, like I said before, Victor and Rebecca. If you remember from the film, she is a member of the Defenders of Eden. She is the Fist of God's sister. She is a Jewish demon hunter. And he's having a conversation with her about the very powerful Dybbuk that he had to dispatch in the last issue. So she's going to kind of explain to him what's going on and about the book and things like that, because they also are they also know a lot of the stuff that's going on in the city. So like if there's something big happening, they've got people that can say, hey, we noticed this thing is going on. Even though Chicago is a city of 3 million people, they have their people out there who are looking into this kind of stuff, and they have their little grapevine and everything. So all the people in the supernatural communities, like the demon hunters, the magic users, and everybody's got their fillers out, and they kind of know something that's going on. So she's kind of telling him what she knows, and he's going to go from there and have some more encounters and things. Of course, there's going to be other stuff that jumps off in Hexcraft Mechanics, and if you're reading that series, you'll see the things that happen here, particularly the stuff that happens with Dracula. He and Lady Bathory are going to become a big problem in the Night Phoenix Press universe, so you'll want to be there for that. A lot of stuff is happening, but this is pretty much what the page is going to look like. I'm going to go in later and do a little bit more detailing with an alcohol marker. I'm actually using, just in case anybody wants to know, I'm using Blick Studio markers for my alcohol markers, and I'm probably going to get some Uhuhu markers as well. But this is it, guys. So you guys take it easy. I'll let you know when Hexcraft Mechanics goes off to the printer. That should happen at the end of this month. I want to do more sketchbook videos, so be on the lookout for that. And that's pretty much it, guys. You take it easy. Nathyn Brendan Masters. Oscar.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die. Looking through the eyes of a brand new life. It's so